I call to order the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Announce that there is a quorum present. Moving on to item number 2, we have a motion for approving the minutes from the July 5th and the 19th meeting.
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Passes. Item 3 is a public hearing zoning. Item A is a consideration of a zoning change request from light industrial to heavy industrial on a 1.02 acre tract located, 1.029 acre, located immediately south of Stonewall Drive and west of Huffines Boulevard, further identified as Lot 10R, Block A of the Riverview Industrial Park Addition. The request is being made by Merlick? Pardon me. Merlick LLC, the property owner. Case number PZ 20110807. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. Paisha Boomsma, Planning Administrator. As the Vice Chairperson just told you, this is a zoning request change from light industrial to heavy industrial. Specifically, it's Lot 10R of the Riverview Industrial Park, as you can see kind of illustrated on this aerial or in your packets. This is basically one of 3 remainder parcels that was carved out from the 4 radio towers that are about 400 feet tall to the south of the property, and that fall zone, the curved portion of the property, the fall zone is what necessitates that shape, which gives the property kind of an unusual configuration. We've done some extensive analysis on this request, and in lieu of that have decided to recommend denial of this request for a variety of reasons. The first would be that this change would counteract the previous Planning and Zoning Commission and Council decisions to make this specific property zoning less intensive. In going back and looking at the reports, we noticed that the property started out zoned as heavy industrial, then was zoned as specific use and had its uses narrowed when it was in conjunction with the radio towers, and then finally was rezoned to light industrial. And this is also reflective of the city's general tendency to narrow land uses as opposed to expand what's allowed upon them. Heavy industrial, as you know, is our least restrictive zoning district, meaning that it opens the door for basically almost any use that the city has in its ordinance. And some of these land uses, although the RV and storage may seem relatively benign, it's not necessarily what will always exist on that property. Recommending a rezoning of this nature would establish a precedent for other pieces of property. Even though this one is very small and in close proximity to other heavy industrial uses, it would still set in motion the idea that light industrial property could potentially be upzoned to heavy industrial. With regard to the outside storage component, we have experienced several challenges with uses that are allowed to exceed the 10% of the lot, and we are currently in the process of preparing a specific use permit, which would basically further govern outdoor storage in excess of 10% of the lot and require an additional approval on top of that. And we are currently in process preparing that and hope to bring that specific use permit before you within the next couple of months. Finally, this amendment would be in conflict to the East Louisville plan, which specifically recommends that heavy industrial land be rezoned to light industrial. And I'd just like to thank one of your very astute planning commissioners for pointing that out. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak in favor of this item, please come forward.
I'll raise everybody up to the counter here. My name is Jim Attrell. I'm the president of Marluke. Marluke is a new commercial development company. It stands for Marissa and Luke, my kids. I was previously, along with my wife, the owner of Nortex Modular Space, which operates in the same industrial park and has for a number of years and employs 100, or at least to employ 100 people. We no longer own that business, but Nortex had 3 pieces of property in this park. The first property is actually owned by the city of Farmers Branch. It's that large manufacturing plant with outside storage. So that's about 8 acres of land. And you can see it on the north side of that photograph. To the north of that Stonewall property and to the west of the factory is the first Marluke office facility, and it's on 1 acre of heavy industrial property, and it's also outside storage. If you drive up there, it's pretty nice. I mean, it's got a nice fence to it, and it's a display lot, basically. The third piece of property is to the west of this property, and it's light industrial, and we bought that about 4 years ago, came to the city and asked for permission to use it for outside storage. And we didn't really care what they called it, heavy industrial, light industrial, it doesn't matter. We want to continue with the same use as the other 2 pieces of Nortex property. And that was approved by City Council. Now, just so you understand, I'm not really concerned about the zoning. You can call it whatever you like. What I really want to do is to develop that property as outside storage with a 5,000 square foot office on it, and it's going to be built to save a tree that's right in the middle of that property that was born in 1850, more or less. That's what my arborist says. It's this big around, and it's a pecan tree. It's beautiful. And if you look to the south of this property, it's the dump. And the dump is expanding. I don't know whether you've got the final approval through on it, but it's expanding, and it's going to be even worse than what it is now. So if you look to the north of this property, there's 2 pieces of land, and both of them are outside storage. The property to the west of us is outside storage. The property to the east of us is the road to the dump. Almost that entire park out there is outside storage, and it's attractive outside storage, except for the part that's not too attractive, and it has very high fences around it, and that's the steel recycling plant that is located just west and north of this property. So the other thing about this property, if you notice, is that rounded bottom on it. Makes it very hard to sell. It's in a regular shaped piece of property. You can't develop that in any way as a normal office park or a light industrial park. You just can't fit anything in there, especially if you want to, unless you bulldoze the tree. Then you can fit something in there. But it really has decreased the value of the property. I guess that's pretty much it. I have a lot of other notes here, but that's, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. I guess, to me, if you want to leave it as light industrial, then let me have a variance to turn it into the same piece of property, or the same zoning requirement, or the same use as that property that was approved by Nortex 3 or 4 years ago. It's going to look just like that piece of property. It will fit right in. It'll have a nice metal fence in the front of it and a very attractive office. I plan on, if it's approved, turning that office into a place where people can store their expensive RV, because the inside of it will be a place for 4 very expensive $1 million type buses, is what I call them, air-conditioned space, outside storage for high-end boats, and office space that you can rent on the inside with a conference room and a kitchen. So that's the plan. And it fits in with the park. This is when you drive in the Riverview Industrial Park, this is as far south as you can go. You go past all this outside storage to get to that piece of property.
Thank you.
Any questions?
How long have you owned this property?
1.5 years. I bought it about the same time we sold Nortex.
Any other questions, Commissioners? Thank you. Oh, does anybody else want to talk? No, there's not anybody else out there. Okay.
Motion to close public hearing.
I have a motion to close public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to close public hearing and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Item 3 is, the public hearing is closed. Commissioners, do we have any comments, questions, concerns? Motion?
I think in keeping with the East Louisville land use plan, that it should remain as it is zoned today. And any variance or anything, and then we take care of it outside of that.
Okay.
I have a similar comment. I think I would rather see it remain, I'd rather not see it change to heavy industrial, first of all, and then secondly, with either the option of a special use permit or a variance, I think you can still accomplish his goals. I wouldn't have any objection to entertaining that. I think there's just a natural resistance to wanting to see anything go heavy industrial, and especially since it's not part of the plan for this area. It's just not, I think there's another way to accomplish this without that kind of free zoning.
Anybody else?
Motion to deny the request.
I have a motion. 1 second. I'll get a second on that. I have a question. Staff, the piece of property that's between these two, the one on the left of our picture that has the 18-wheelers, yeah, the one on the left that's there,
Yes.
and there's a little piece right there. Is that a separate piece of property, or is that along with the special use that's behind it for the antennas?
So that's part of the radio tower thing, isn't it?
Which piece of property?
This might help explain things a little bit better.
I got a comment.
It looks
Yeah,
like
I
the
can figure
piece
out
of
where
property
it-
with the storage is also light industrial.
She's talking about what's in between that and his, which is,
Back to your first picture, right where your thumb was. Put your thumb over there. Right there. That piece of property. Is that part of the special use back underneath there
Yes,
for the antennas?
yes, I think
Service them?
that's probably an area for a guy wire or a drainage ditch. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Can't see topography, whatever that word is.
Topography.
Okay, whatever the other guys say.
Very deep drainage.
I'll make a comment, Karen. Over the past 20 years, we've had 3 land use plans. And all those are educated guesses. And I think that it's up to us to make modifications to it as time goes along. And I'm in favor of this.
Okay. Now, you had a question?
Oh, yes. I was just going to fill you all in a little bit more on on the specific use permit that I'd mentioned up at the up at the podium. We are, like I said, we're in the process of developing that. It is possible that the applicant could either try to go through council for a variance to the 10% open storage with the light industrial zoning, or he could potentially table this and wait until that's approved and try to obtain a specific use permit for the outside storage, although there's no specific date when that will actually be enacted. So I just wanted to let everyone know what the potential options were.
Okay. I apologize. Is it Jared? Do you have any comments or questions? You're the only one that hadn't talked yet. Ain't got your 2 cents in there.
Well, no, I think I'll get most of my sense in when we vote. But, yeah, no, I believe I greatly appreciate the ability to see the East Louisville land use plan. I think that's an important piece of information. I think following that, obviously a lot of time and effort, and again, the precedent that we've set so far with how we're handling the use of this type of property, and wanting to become more restrictive. I'm a believer in that. So that's the only comment I have.
Thank
for
you.
asking.
I just want to give you an
Yeah,
opportunity.
appreciate it.
Since it's such a long meeting. Okay. Back to business here. I have a motion from James to recommend denial. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll take a second from Jared. All those in favor of recommending denial on this piece signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
No.
The item passes as a denial to the city council. The reports, staff?
No reports this evening.
Okay. Anything from the commissioners?
No.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Thank you.